Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's lesson. I am the presenter, Mrs. Emerensha Botha, and we were looking at spelling patterns in English today. I know many of you knew that when we spell, we look in patterns. So let's just look at spelling follows rules and patterns. And then also learning patterns makes writing and reading easier. So this is why it's important for us to learn these patterns. Now we have a lot of them, but I'm only going to touch on some of them in today's lesson. The first one we're looking at is I before E. Let's see what that means. So I before E, except after C, or when sounding like A. Now, let's see what I mean by that. If we look at these words, believe, field, and peace, do you see that the I is before the E every time with these three words? The next one, receive and deceive. Now here it still sounds like you say receive, not receive, but because there's a C, there's an E and an I. The same with deceive. So here we see that now the E is before the I, but that is only because there's a C that's preceding the E. Now if we look at these two words, neighbor and way, it sounds like A. So neighbor and way. That is why the E is before the E is then before the I. Now we also have exceptions to the rule, like these words, weird, foreign, and height. So remember a rule rules are in place, but there's also exceptions to rules. So be aware of these rules as well, and then the exception to the rules. If we look at our next one, doubling up. So when a word has one syllable with one vowel next to the final consonant, double up the final consonant, then add a suffix. Now this sounds really very difficult, but it is not. If you look at the next, we are going to look at examples with vowel suffixes, ER, ES, EST, and ING. Now this will make more sense when you see the word. So like splat. So here we see one syllable with one vowel next to the final consonant. So A-T. See the final consonant here is T. Now we have to double the final consonant and then add the suffix ER. So you first double it, like in quiz. Again, we see the one vowel, which is I, before the Z. So that's before the final consonant. Now you have to double the final consonant, Z. Then it's two Z's, you've doubled it, and you've added the suffix ES. Let's look at this word. So now we have the one vowel, A, next to the final consonant, T. So now we have to double the final consonant, and then we add the suffix EST. So fat, fattest. Then with this word, clip, our vowel is I, and it's next to our final consonant, P, and now it has to be doubled, and then we add the suffix ING. So clip, clipping. Okay, so however, so we see now that that is then for one syllable, but however for longer words, when the stress is on the final syllable, do not double the final consonant. So like this word, domineer, domineering. You see, we're not going to double the R. And engineer, also engineering. without doubling it. So this is then what we must also look for in those words that this is now for a longer word. The stress is on the final syllable, and then we do not double it. We look at the next one, words ending in Y. Now change Y to IES or S to form the plural. Let's look at an example. Baby, we will change the Y to IES and then it becomes babies. But for the word play, we will just add an S. Then we change Y to I when there is a consonant before the Y when adding the suffixes. Let's look at the example. Like that word, beauty plus ful becomes beautiful. Do you see the Y falls away? And that is then replaced by the I because there is a consonant before the Y when we add the suffix. Now, if a suffix that already begins with an I, such as ing or I or ish, is added to the end of the word, the Y does not change. Look at that, carry plus the ing, then it's carrying. So then the Y will not change, it will remain there, and when you then add the suffix, the word will stay like that, the Y will also be there still. Let's look at the silent E. So we drop the final silent E in a word when a suffix ending that begins with a vowel is added. Let me show you. So the word make, the suffix ending is ing. So do you see that suffix begins with a vowel, with I. So now we drop the silent E, and then it is making without the E. The same with this word, hope, plus the ing, hoping. So again, we drop the E because our suffix, so that suffix begins with a vowel. Do not drop the E if the word ends in CE or GE. Why not? Because this keeps a soft sound. There's an example, notice, noticeable, and manage, manageable. So we do not drop the E then. You keep it so that the word will have a soft sound. Our next one, we add ES. So you add ES to words ending in S, double S, Z, CH, SH, and X to form the plural. Let's look at the examples. Bus, buses. So you only add ES. Business, businesses. We add ES. Then quartz, we also just add to the word quartz, we just add ES. And then the word watch, we add the ES, the one that ending with a SH, wash, also we add ES. Then at complex, it ends with an X, so we add ES to make it complexes. Now change the ending F to VES or S to form the plural. So most words ending in F or FE change to VES to form the plural. Let's look at the examples. Half changes to VES, halves, in the plural. The word knife will change to knives. So there we see the FE will change to VES. Now, some words ending in F do not change to VES, but change to an S to form the plural. So the rule is that if the word has two vowels plus F, then we just add an S to form the plural. Like chief, chiefs. Roof, roofs. So two vowels plus the F, we just add an S. But like I said before, there's exceptions to the rule. So let's look at the exceptions. This one, thief, thieves. So although the word has two vowels plus the F, this one will change to VES. Another exception, leaf, will become leaves. So just make sure when you study your patterns for spelling that you also look at the exception to the rule. So it's good that you know the rules, but also look at the exceptions. Now we have gone through all the rules. I'm just quickly want to just show you that I before E, so make sure of that one, except after C or when sounding like A. And then the doubling up, make sure when it has one syllable with one vowel next to the final consonant, then you double the consonant and then you add a suffix. Remember that we have exceptions to the rules. So that is then when, for the longer word, when the stress is on the final syllable, then you do not double it. And in I, like baby, the Y become IES. And play, you keep the Y, it's just the S. Remember to change Y to I when there is a consonant before the Y, and adding suffixes like the word beautiful. And then also we remember that if a suffix that already begins with an I, such as ing or ish, is added to the end of the word, the Y does not change. Remember about the silent E, that you have to drop it in a word when a suffix ending that begins with a vowel is added, but you do not drop the E if it's CE or GE. This keeps it soft. You add ES to these words to form the plural. And then you change the words that's ending in F or FE to VES. And remember about this rule, that if the word has two vowels plus F, then we just add an S to form the plural. But we have exceptions to this rule as well. Then our closing thought today. Spelling is like building strong bricks. So the rules, the bricks, that creates strong walls. That's the writing. So you use your spelling rules as bricks, and then you will create strong walls. That will be your writing. And always remember that good spelling is the foundation of good writing. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. I hope you've learned something today, and enjoy the rest of the lessons.
Good day, everyone.